I think this was a test in the life of the ruler. I think if Jairus had said, forget about her, what about my needs? It may not have gone as well as he had hoped it would. But because he passed this test beautifully, he was greatly rewarded. You know, God will bring tests in your life, and he doesn't always tell you when they're coming. Remember when you were in school and the teacher would get up in front of the class and say, we have a pop quiz for you. All the nerds would say, yeah, you know. Sorry, I don't mean to denigrate nerds. We don't call them nerds anymore. Now we call them boss because we work for them, you see, because they studied so hard. But I was one of those guys who never studied. I was never prepared, and I would get that sinking feeling, pop quiz, no, I'm not ready. I didn't read the material. Sometimes we're being tested and we don't even know it. And I think this was the case for Jairus. And to his eternal credit, when interrupted, he said nothing. He just waits on the Lord, and he kept following Jesus. And that's our theme here in this series, following Jesus. And that's a good thing to do. When things aren't making sense, here's what you do. Just keep following Jesus. It's going to make sense in time, as Jairus would soon find out. Being a ruler of a synagogue, he would know the scripture. Maybe he remembered Proverbs 20:22. It says, wait on the Lord, and he will save you. So he was waiting. You know, waiting is hard to do, isn't it? Especially when someone you love is hurting. I don't know about you, but I'm not the most patient person on earth. I hate to sit at lights. I like to be on time when I say I'll be somewhere. And so it's hard for me to wait sometimes. And some of us are that way. Some of us are more patient by nature. But Jairus was a very patient man, at least in this instance. And he not only accepted Jesus, but he accepted his timing. And sometimes we become impatient with God. Like, God, what's up? Are you paying attention to my circumstances? I need some help here. When are you going to open the door of ministry for me? Hey, Lord, when are you going to provide me with a husband or a wife? Lord, when are you going to judge that person that's committing that sin? How long are you going to let them get away with that? Or how about this one? Lord, when are you going to come back to planet Earth and judge this place? When are you going to return? Where are you? And we can grow impatient with God. And sometimes in our impatience, we can take things into our own hands and try to help God out and end up making things worse. So really, it's up to us. But we should wait upon his time. He asks for our trust. Here's what God says in Isaiah 55. He says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts. Here's something to consider. His delays are not necessarily his denials. Let me repeat that. His delays are not necessarily his denials. Just because God says no today does not necessarily mean he will say no tomorrow. Wait upon the Lord. That's what Jairus was doing.